Hey everybody, it's Sean from S&S Customs Limited. Today's going to be a cool video. I'm going to make a coffin tank, an S&S Customs coffin tank. An order came in last week for one, and I'm going to show you the process of how we start from scratch to finished product. So stay tuned. What is up everybody? Okay, today I've got something cool going on for all you gearhead, chopperheads that love coffin tanks. I personally love them. I love the high arc ones that kind of like are high up at the top and kind of taper to a point on the bottom. So today I'm going to show you how I build our Slickster coffin tanks. We've been building these for quite a while. We actually radius our coffin tank, which is a little bit more difficult than your average coffin tank. But I feel in the end, we've got something that looks much better and more unique than the person that's gonna just run the average coffin tank. Nothing wrong with the average coffin tank, love them too, but I like ours a bit more. In the past, we've put sight glasses in. On this one, we're doing a flush mount, so there's no bib going on this one. You will notice if you go to the website at www.snscustomslimited.com and you look up the coffin tanks, you'll see that bib. That bib is an accent piece. Looks really cool once it's painted. You can chrome it. There's all kinds of color choices or uses for it. So this one, where he's going to get, the way he's getting the tank painted, we are not going to install that bib. So without further ado, hang tight, tune into this video, it's gonna be cool. I'm just getting a machine set up to cut the pieces and components. Anyways, cheers. Hey, I'm back. So I'm gonna take you over to the machine, show you the setup. This is a CNC plasma cutting machine. For those of you that don't know CNC, don't feel bad, neither did I till I got in it probably about 10 years ago and taught myself CAD and CAM and all that stuff. It was a lot of fun, a lot of trial and error, but you can learn anything if your noggin works, if your noggin is clear, if you want to learn, you can learn this stuff. We're all going to pick it up at different paces. Fortunately for me, I picked it up at a rather quick pace because I loved what I was learning and my face was always in a book about the subject. So I'm going to take you over to the machine and we're going to cut these parts out, so stay tuned. So here's the machine. So we have our coffin tank layout that we drew in CAD probably a few years ago. We've got our 14 gauge steel on the water table and we've got our torch zeroed out. You'll see X, Y, and Z are all zero. We're gonna turn on our Hypertherm 85, Power Max 85, and that's gonna cut through this like butter. So this is a Mach 3, the 4th generation digital height control. It's a great machine. I've had this machine for years. It's made by ArcLight Dynamics, guys out in Bend, Oregon. They're all good dudes, and they build a really great product. So anyways, we're gonna get started and we're gonna get cutting here. All right, so that made really quick work of cutting the pattern out for the tanks. We got our mounts, we've got our top piece, we got our top piece, 2 side pieces, we got our bottom, we got our front and back, all ready to rock and roll. So now we're going to clean them up and we're going to sand them down and we're going to get them shaped up and show you guys how I just want to say one thing about computer numerical cutters and stuff like that, CNC machines. There's like I don't know, like some kind of thing in the industry where they're like taboo, where if you use them then you're cheating, or your parts aren't, like, they're not built with soul. But a lot of these parts that were developed I built by hand first with a hand grinder and took measurements and, you know, and did stuff like that. And usually that comes from people that, you know, they don't own a CNC, or they've never really, you know, looked at it, or maybe they just don't like being accurate. I don't know what the big deal is, but I use them here. And the good thing about the way I do things is I can still use my hands, because I started off, you know, as a manually machining, and then we got CNC mills and so on and so forth when we started to manufacture more parts. So when you manufacture parts, you want the parts to be the same. So when your customers get your parts, they're the same. They fit the same bike. So there's like this misconception of it that it's like bad, like, oh no, you can't CNC a part, but it's just simply not true. And those people that say that stuff don't understand it at all, and have never written a program in their life, a successful program that actually where you, at the end, you have a working, functioning part. There's a lot to it. There's an art to it. And I will say right now, if you're a young person, it's a great trade to get into: machining, manual machining, CNC machining, because right now we're at an all-time low in the industry. We do not have the techs, the machinists, and the operators to operate these machines. And in a few more years, if we don't amplify the younger generation to get into these types of trades, we're going to be hurting, and we're going to be outsourcing more stuff to places like China, and our economy is going to be the same. You know, we want to keep things Canadian. We want to, you know, make things in Canada, and so on and so forth. So to the younger generation, if I can give you a bit of advice, or send any type of message, it's, you know, get involved with these. Go to your local community college. You'll be glad you did. You're going to make a ton of money. Trades are just, you know, an awesome way to make a living. It's a low student loan. By the time you get out, you could pay your loan off in 6 months. You're, you know, like that. At least I'm speaking from experience. I've been in the pipe fitters and welders trade for over 25 years now, and it's been very good to me. So, you know, if I can stress anything, it would be to get the younger generation into the trades, specifically machining, welding, fabricating, you know, HVAC, plumbing, electrical. We need help. There's a lot of guys that are my age, they're in their 40s and 50s, and they're looking at retiring, and it's going to be another setback, because those guys are the ones that should be passing on what they're learning to the younger generation. So I just will say that. And what I was talking about earlier, there should be no misconception about CNC. CNC machining or plasma cutting or anything is not cheating, as far as I'm concerned. You're actually that step above. You know, before getting into any of that, you know, I recommend doing stuff. You know, if you're not useful with this and these, and you're only relying on, you know, automation, well, that could be a problem when it comes to finessing maybe a part that didn't work or get cut out right. So, you know, education is everything. And, you know, what you hold up here and here, your ability to do things. Like, I could make this Coffin Tank without that if I wanted to. If you want it to be a true, keeping it grassroots and no CNC and stuff like that. But anyways, that's all I'm going to stress about that. It isn't cheating. It's just that you care about precision and accuracy, while others, if it's handmade, you know, I've made stuff that was handmade and everything lined up. But I find that if it doesn't line up or it's uneven, people just say, oh, it's handmade, it's okay. Well, no, it's not okay, because, I mean, take the time to drill the hole in the right spot, to grind it even, to finesse it in, to blend it in, because I did handmade everything before I did this. Took hours and hours and hours to do this stuff, where there's no way you're getting paid for this specific part. There's just no way. The part would be worth like $500 and the customer just isn't going to pay for it. So, you know, I cut my teeth in days like that. So, you know, I did that. So you should be able to do with your hands and, you know, in your brain. And if you're completely reliant on automation, then I suggest trying to do stuff with your hands, like trying to make stuff with your hands and stuff. At least that's what I did, and that's what worked out for me. Anyways, that's it. On to the next. We're cleaning these panels.
All right, we're back, and we've done some markouts with some Sharpie marker, and that's what we got. It's almost looking like a Radius Slickster Coffin Tank. Not everything's just floating there, mind you, but I'm probably going to cut this video off next, or I'll probably do it in 2 parts. I'm going to get this all tacked up, and then the second part I'm going to machine the gas cap and the 22mm bung that goes on. We usually run them down here. So we drill a hole. So this is a 14 gauge cold rolled steel, thick stuff. Like, this stuff is mega thick. But anyways, a couple of hours and that's where we're at. We're gonna tack it up, and yeah, that's it. I'm gonna do this video in 2 parts.
Hey, what's up? So there's your top. You can see the lines, kind of resembles a coffin. That's why they're called a coffin tank. We've cleaned up all the edges because you want to do that prior to welding, just so you don't get any, porosity, or, you want it to weld as smooth as possible. So there's your top portion. And this is what I'm talking about, automation and stuff like that. Like, you're not gonna get a better fit in the world than that right there. And these machines help you. You can do it by hand, but it takes time. How much is your time worth? That's what you have to ask yourself. So this here, I'm gonna fixture to the table, and I'm just gonna tack weld all that into place, and weld it from the inside so we can sand down and have like a really nice hem seam. So it's like a sharp, just looks so delicious once it's all said and done, right? But anyways, that's what the CNC plasma cutter does. It's accurate. I like it. I like using it because I'll get an idea, and instead of sitting there with a hand grinder and a zip disk for an hour, I can get my ideas from pen and paper to CAD to in my hands within 25, half hour, an hour, depending on how intricate the piece is. So anyways, like, what's your time worth to you? I know my time as I get older is more valuable to me because I obviously have less of it. So, we're gonna bang this tank out. Thanks for watching today. Like, subscribe, leave a comment. Please be respectful. Everybody's been, pretty cool as of lately. Just keep the comments respectful. This is a place for all of us to come to and watch and, enjoy. So anyways, like, subscribe. Let's get on with the rest of the week. Tomorrow's Friday. We're into the weekend. We got a good hockey game coming up this weekend. So cheers, peace. Everybody have a great day. Thanks for watching.